At the end of World War II, a young Jewish soldier in the US Army found himself marching through Western Europe, liberating towns and villages that were in German control. At one point, Wiesenfeld's unit was assigned to a small German village with orders to secure the town, search for any hiding Nazis, and help the villagers in any way that they could possibly need. One night, out on patrol, Wiesenfeld saw a slim figure running through the field just outside the village. He gave chase and shouted, "Stop, or I'll shoot." The figure ducked behind a tree. Wiesenfeld waited, and eventually the figure came out and looked around to see if he was still being pursued. Figuring that the soldier was no longer nearby, he went to a spot near a large tree and started to dig. Wiesenfeld waited until the figure had finished digging and removed an object from the ditch. Then he was once more on the move. Wiesenfeld stepped out from a nearby patch and said, "Stop, or I'll shoot." The figure ran. Wiesenfeld decided not to shoot, but rather to try and catch the figure. He soon caught up with him and tackled him to the ground. To his surprise, he found that he'd captured a young boy with a beautiful menorah in his hand. The menorah fell to the ground, and Wiesenfeld picked up the menorah. The boy tried to grab it back, shouting, "Give it back to me, it's mine." Wiesenfeld assured the boy, "Don't worry, I'm one of your friends. Furthermore, I'm actually Jewish as well." This boy, who had just survived several years of the Holocaust, had been in a concentration camp and was distrustful of any man in a uniform. He had been forced to watch the shooting of his father, and he had no idea whatever had become of his mother. Wiesenfeld calmed down the boy, brought him back to his barrack, and in the weeks that followed, he took the young boy, whose names were David, under his wing. As they became closer and closer, Wiesenfeld's heart went out to the young boy. He had lost everything in the war and needed a stable home in which to grow up. The soldier offered David the opportunity to come back with him to New York after his duty was finished, and David gladly accepted. Wiesenfeld went through the necessary paperwork and eventually adopted David. After the war, Wiesenfeld settled down and became an active member of the New York Jewish community, and one of his acquaintances was actually working in the Jewish Museum, and he took a look one day at David's menorah and he said, "This is gorgeous. This has to be for everyone. It's worth a fortune." And he offered David $50,000 for the menorah. David refused. Generous offer, but he said, "No. This menorah has been in my family for over 200 years. There's no amount of money that would ever make him sell it." That year, when Chanukah came, David and his newly adopted father lit the menorah in the window of their home in New York City. The candles burned bright, and for David it was a memory of his family and everything they represented of happier times. They watched the menorah burn. Eventually David went to his room. Wiesenfeld remained by the candles. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Wiesenfeld went to answer it, and standing by the door, he found a woman with a very strong German accent who said she was walking down the street and she saw this menorah in the window. She said, "We once had a menorah just like that in our family, and she had never seen anything like it. Could she take a closer look?" Wiesenfeld invited her inside and said that the menorah belonged to his adopted son, and perhaps he could come downstairs and tell her more about it. Wiesenfeld went upstairs and called David from his room to talk to the woman. David walked down the steps, stopped, and screamed, "Mama!" And he couldn't believe it. He ran into her arms. The mother that he had no idea anything about was standing in front of him. They embraced. The menorah represented that incredible time when they reunited. When it comes to the Yom Tov of Chanukah, what an opportunity, what warmth we see within the candles. But more than that, it represents that we reunite. We reunite with our Creator. We connect back with the Rabbi Shalom. We light the candle within the darkness, in the midst of the winter, and we say, Rabbi Shalom, we're looking for your connection. We remember the Nisim. We remember the tremendous miracles that you gave to us. And now we want that connection. We want that warmth. We want to be embraced once again by the Rabbi Shalom. A freilichen Chanukah.
To listen to more by Rabbi Avi Wiesenfeld, visit